Hello there and welcome to UBC News Tonight, our second and final edition of News Tonight this Tuesday, the 28th day of November 2023. On sign language, I'll be joined shortly by Elizabeth Nakakuni, and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has commissioned a state-of-the-art diagnostic test kits plant in Ntinda, Uganda, marking a significant step forward in the country's healthcare sector. The $50 million facility, owned by Microhim Scientific, is the first of its kind in the Great Lakes region and is expected to save the country over $200 million annually spent on the importation of test kits. The plant will produce a wide range of both molecular and rapid diagnostic test kits for HIV viral load, HIV early infant diagnosis, HIV drug resistance monitoring, malaria, and hepatitis B. The production of these kits will not only reduce the country's reliance on imports, but also enhance its ability to respond to disease outbreaks effectively. President Yoweri Museveni lauded the establishment of the plant, emphasizing the importance of local manufacturing capacity in improving healthcare outcomes.
We are ready, as of today, to produce HIV rapid test kits. Now, rapid means they can be used anywhere. You don't need to have a lab. Your Excellency, we lose a lot of people to malaria every day. If today a taxi fell down on Masaka Road or Chiboga Road or Guru Road, it would be on the newspapers. It would be everywhere. But no one counts the people who have died because of malaria, the children, the mothers. And one of the challenges is access to quality diagnostics. If you are poorly diagnosed, the doctor is going to give you a different drug. You keep with the disease, and 2-3 days later, if it is malaria, you actually die. Your Excellency, these products are now manufactured here.
We are therefore very excited that we are now expanding the local manufacturing capacity to include laboratory reagents and other diagnostic devices. I congratulate Microhim Group of companies for leading in the local diagnostic manufacturing space. I want to thank the Scientific Advisory Committee for the Microhim Group of companies and the international partner investors for accepting to come in and support local manufacturing, including technology transfer.
I'm happy that we are launching one of the facilities today, the diagnostic facility. The first generation fully automated diagnostic manufacturing facility, the first of its kind in Uganda. He has also told us it is the first of its kind in sub-Saharan Africa, making 5 of this kind, but the first generation. And so we are lucky that we are getting this milestone in the growth of our health sector as a country and a continent.
Just to wake up and live as modern people. So these funds, which were put in UDB, and we shall always put more funds, are really to support that transformation from a superstition-controlled society to a science-led society. So if you approach, we coordinate, and you approach partners, they will work with you because you have one element of business, which is market. So therefore, I really want to salute you, young people, for waking up. And getting out of the slavery of dependency, because that has been the problem.
President Yoweri Museveni ending that story there. Now, the Prime Minister, Right Honourable Robina Nabbanja, has held an interministerial meeting with investors from Tororo Cement Factory to fast-track the establishment of a clinker factory in Moroto District. This follows a presidential directive to the Prime Minister to coordinate all line ministries and agencies to ensure that the factory in Karamoja begins immediately.
While chairing the meeting, Nabbanja says that the factory to be set up in Karamoja is for the good of the people there and Ugandans in general. Nabbanja appealed to the relevant ministries to expedite the processes involved so that the factory can start as soon as possible.
We are all in agreement that we need a clinker factory. Of course. So I request that each ministry does their part. I request you, Jaja, Honorable Katumba, to provide a road. I request Honorable Minister for Lands.
She has to give me land on which I put my road.
That one is there.
I'm trying to summarize. To help us get them land, the Ministry of Energy should give them a license and also provide a 50 megawatt line to the factory. The Ministry for Karamoja will always be briefing us every week on the progress until when this factory is on its feet.
Manesh Vasani, the owner of Tororo Cement Factory, says that they are ready to start work and appealed for cooperation to have the clinker factory operational.
We need your partnership and cooperation as one team. We need a 33-kilometer road, which I have explained him and I've shown him on the maps. Number 2 is power. We need 50 megawatts of power to run this factory. We are putting the same replica, the same project of 6,000 tons a day, expandable to 10,000 tons. But at the moment, we have started the civil work. Construction on ground is on. You can send your team to verify it and check it. We will build schools. Once my factory is there, we'll build schools. We have already built schools.
Corporate social responsibility.
We will build hospitals. I request the panel over here sitting, visit us in Mombasa.
The Minister for Works and Transport, General Dr. Katumba Wamala, says that his ministry is ready to offer the required road network.
What would be those services they would require, so that when they are going to do that corporate social responsibility, it is focused on the needs of the people, instead of what we think the people need.
Judith Nabakoba, the Minister for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, says that her ministry will handle land issues as provided for by the law.
We are going to commit ourselves, since we have known it is communal land. We had given out some certificates of ownership in Karamoja, but I'm not very sure whether that area had been covered, the communal land association certificates.
It is covered.
So if it is already covered, that will be a beginning point.
Dr. Mary Goret Kitutu, the Minister for Karamoja Affairs, says that the people of Karamoja must be considered for jobs and services for socio-economic transformation.
We want Karamoja transformed into a modern society. So these are some of the challenges. You need to put the corporate social responsibility.
The State Minister in charge of minerals, Peter Lokeres, says that the mining law will be applied to have local content emphasized for the benefit of the people of Karamoja.
The mining law will be applied. That's what they call the local content. How many people will you employ from the area? What will you do towards education? What will you do towards some dispensaries? All those are in a mining act.
Tororo Cement Factory has another clinker factory in Mombasa, Kenya, and this will be the second one in the region. I'm Navka Farida, reporting.
Good news there for Karamoja sub-region. Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, has directed the executive to present a report on the 18 missing persons as demanded by the opposition wing. The Speaker's directive confirms a twist of events following her recent remarks on the opposition boycott of plenary. Speaker Anita Among wants the report latest tomorrow, Wednesday, as the opposition wing continues to escape plenary sessions until their demands are addressed. The leader of opposition in Parliament, Mathias Impuga, had earlier addressed the media, informing the members of the opposition not to adhere to the Speaker's directive of being excluded from the committee proceedings of Parliament. Daniel Mugoya gives us more.
It was a different tone, describing the twist of events as the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, who of recent has been upset by the opposition, dodging plenary to protest government failure to give accountability of the alleged human rights abuse affecting opposition supporters in Uganda.
Honorable members, as you recall, on 19th October 2023, the presiding officer granted executive 30 days to respond to matters that were raised by leader of opposition. The Minister of Security wrote to me and asked for an additional 1 week, which ended yesterday.
In the Tuesday afternoon communication, the Speaker directed that government presents with immediate effect the report on the alleged missing persons.
The executive, let's be accountable to this country, let's be transparent, and let's do what we've been sent to do in this house. So let's have the report tomorrow.
The Speaker's directives sound like the clock is winding down for the opposition boycott after several weeks of protesting, attending parliament sessions.
We have resolved to reassert our continuation of the boycott of plenary sittings until government is ready and committed to make a statement, which I termed as a sequential statement.
Speaker Anita Among, who has been on a countdown for the opposition to return to Parliament or else they are held for missing 15 consecutive sittings, attracting a penalty, changed tone by directing the executive to present a report on the demands by the opposition that led to a boycott. The third Deputy Prime Minister, Lukia Nakadama, assured the House that the report would be presented as tasked by the Speaker.
As you have directed, through the Ministry of Internal Affairs tomorrow. I just want to assure you that it will be here tomorrow.
Nevertheless, the Vice President Jessica Alupo notified the House that the matter reached the table of Cabinet during this week's Monday sitting and was given consideration.
It is an issue, Madam Speaker, which is being handled professionally, and therefore I would like to assure members of this House that let's work as a team and give due diligence and allow appropriate time to those that are handling the matter. If they are here on the floor of the House and they ask for some ample time, let's give them that respect so that they do due diligence and give us a full report that is satisfactory and that is factual.
Meanwhile, as we give the government time, we will receive a partial report tomorrow.
This comes at a time when a section of lawyers led by Arias Lukwago had threatened to petition court after the Speaker's recent directives had started biting hard on the members of the opposition. Some MPs have been affected after they were refused attending committee sessions.
No sectoral leader or no chairperson of any committee can legally stop any member from attending, because no written communication has been forwarded by the clerk to the committee chairpersons. And that's why yesterday I asked the Honorable Lokwago, can you give that evidence? Can you provide that proof?
While addressing the media, the leader of opposition, Matthias Impuga, informed his group to continue attending the committee sessions and defy whoever asks them to take leave.
But in the same breath, ask and advise other chairpersons of committees of Parliament to desist from appearing to be enforcing what is unenforceable.
Daniel Mugoya, Shamim Naiga, UBC News.
Now, inadequate access to information and persistent stigma against persons living with HIV/AIDS has undermined efforts to eliminate the virus in the country. The Executive Director, Uganda AIDS Commission, Dr. Nelson Musoba, says these factors have fueled new infections, but also making it difficult for persons living with AIDS to openly enroll on the medication and also later on seek the much-needed psychosocial support. Dr. Musoba was in an engagement with journalists here in Kampala.
Uganda AIDS Commission has underscored the importance of heightened sensitization of masses about the HIV/AIDS scourge. Despite Uganda registering major strides to national prevalence of 5.8%, there are reports that point at low levels of treatment literacy, in addition to stigma suffered by persons living with HIV as bottlenecks to access to medication.
You cannot expect a young person living with HIV to come out and live when they actually expect to be discriminated against, to be isolated in the communities that they thrive in. Secondly, we could also look at the low levels of treatment literacy. When Doctor mentioned about adherence, there is no adherence if you cannot understand the kind of medication that you're on. And if you're not taking the medication, obviously you will succumb.
And that's the reason we come to you and we come to bring this message to Ugandans. That unless we take it upon ourselves and recognize that the threat of new infections, the science is there, we know how to protect ourselves. You need to know your HIV status, but if you do not take the leadership to know your status, to protect yourselves, new infections are still there. That's why we are having 1,000 new infections every week. And they are affecting predominantly young people. But the way to dispel them is to ensure that we are armed with information and we're also addressing the structural drivers.
This year's World AIDS Day will be marked on the theme, Let Communities Lead. The Executive Director, Uganda AIDS Commission, Dr. Nelson Musoba, says both the global and national themes hint at having collaborative efforts in the fight.
Because the services can be there, the health workers will be waiting, the drugs will be there, but unless as an individual you take the initiative, you test, you know your status, you get the counseling, you seek to protect those around you, you know. If you know you're in a discordant relationship, you take responsibility to know that you protect your partner. That is leadership. That's what we are speaking about. You know?
UNAIDS Country Director Jacqueline Makoha calls for an enabling environment for civil society organizations and development partners to realize an end to AIDS.
Community leadership roles need to be fully and reliably funded to enable the required scale-up and to be properly supported and remunerated. Not ending AIDS is more expensive than ending it. Barriers to community leadership roles need to be removed. An enabling regulatory environment is needed, which facilitates communities' role in provision of HIV services, ensures civil society has space, and protects the human rights of all, including those of marginalized communities, to enable the global HIV response.
Available statistics show that Uganda has about 1.4 million people living with HIV and AIDS, and a worrying trend of about 17,000 deaths annually.
I have told you that 1,000 are getting infected every day. So the statistics are fluid. There are guidance, but really Ugandans, we can stop this disease if we did these things. Stop the infections and stop the deaths. Then the few of us who are already infected, you will combine forces to make sure that we don't die of this disease, meanwhile we are not infecting you. So we don't even need laws about this. We would really be home and dry.
Dorcas Kimono, UBC News.
1,000 new HIV infections every day. That is a reason you and I should really worry about. Now, the surging HIV cases in Imbara district remain a major worry. Questions, however, arise as to what explains these rising numbers that have earned the district a second breath after a food portal. Now, the surging HIV cases are being linked to complacency, low condom use and poverty, especially among teenage girls. We have this special report.
Mbara district is making news headlines after it was ranked by the Uganda AIDS Commission as one of the top areas with surging cases of HIV/AIDS. This year alone, Mbara has already registered 440 new HIV infections, majority of who are teenage females and older men.
So if you look at the district estimates, I think there's like Fort Portal City on top, followed by Mbara district at a prevalence of 14.4%.
Looking at our new infections, I was checking in Mbarara the age 15 to 29 females. We got a higher number of new cases. And as age advanced, up to 40, you observe that men are getting new infections.
Dorothea, not real names, is a sex worker in Mbara City who discloses that complicity and refusal by men to wear condoms is the reason behind HIV spread.
Condom tubeera nazo box number ojijjayo sere ebisinga nambu n'abasajja tebamanyi na kwambala kondomu abamu baagala ate abamu omwambaza bulungi nakkiriza nebwamala bobanga toli careful akakutula.
Dorothea says majority of her colleagues join the trade when they are negative, but in a few days they contract the virus.
Nze nyina mikwano gyange babiri bo mbamanyi bulungi tebalina kawuka naye ate ku mbeera eriwo n'emboozi gye banyumiza bagenda kukafuna.
Leaders say teenage girls seek financial support from older men, resulting in cross-generation sex.
You also know in the city that's where people who have money live. And you know the curve of Africa is that people rather tend to be richer when they are getting older because the demands of life are also decreasing. You are married, you have paid fees, you have finished, you've worked so hard, you have made investments. So now the older generation have money to spare and waste away. And unfortunately, their target becomes young people who are still very exploratory in their age group, some are still naive, some are risk takers.
Mbara has over 7,000 sex workers trading in hotspots of Ruti, Kijungu, Bihabwe, Katete and Central Business District. Reports indicate that majority of these offer sex as below as 5,000 for protected sex and 10,000 shillings and above for unprotected sex.
I have 20K without condom, 5,000 with condom. So you see 5,000 and 20K, you just risk your life and go with the 20K or 50K.
Can we have specific interventions to run to the aid of these young people of the community so that we do not perish when we are seeing? But I also call upon the president for sure. His voice was very fundamental in getting Uganda to reduce prevalence of HIV. Young people, married people, elderly, reducing risk. So for the president, I know you will hear me, we need your voice once more. Abazukulu, they need your voice to know that some of the activities they engage in are very risky and we don't need them to die young.
Government has always trained these sex workers on usage of PEP and PrEP HIV protection methods, but these are yet to embrace them, thus exposing themselves to HIV. The Uganda AIDS Commission recently highlighted that condom usage in the country has drastically reduced, which also explains the surge.
There is not even enough knowledge about condom use. Some people still think that it can get stuck into women. Others think it can just rupture. Others think the sex will not be as good as they want it. So there is a lot of myths surrounding the use of condom.
Michael Masco, the Western Region Zonal Coordinator for the Uganda AIDS Commission, also blamed the increasing cases of HIV infections to the myths and misconceptions by majority men that wet women do not spread the virus.
And that is where now the concentration of the HIV is. 14 to 25 years, most of those adolescent girls are attracting new infections.
Uganda spends about 700,000 shillings annually per HIV/AIDS patient, making it a disease of public health importance. A special report there, of course, highlighting factors that have contributed to the increase in AIDS, in HIV/AIDS cases in the country, particularly there. We're looking at Mbarara district. To other news now, and actors in the mining sector have called for promotion of positive masculinity as a preventive and responsive mechanism towards sexual gender-based violence in the Great Lakes region. The Regional Director, Regional Training Facility, Dr. Janvier Ndirahisha, says there is need for member states to promote gender equality and protection of women against SGBV in the mining sector. Susan Naunga reports.
Of our member states to promote active participation of women.
Great Lakes region is one of the regions with high mineral exploration, yet with the highest incidence of sexual abuse, forced child marriages, prostitution and rape, which fuel sexual gender-based violence against women and girls.
All we are saying is societies must transform in order to empower women, because women are just as human beings as men.
During an engagement of actors in the mining industry in the Great Lakes region on the 16 days of activism against sexual gender-based violence, emphasis was put on positive masculinity.
Let us start from where? From our education system, through our career development, to allow women access the professions that allow youth to equally run for any job opportunities in the mining sector.
Here, men support women to champion the response and prevention of sexual gender-based violence.
We want all the men use your strength in a positive way to support the people you call, in quotes, weak.
The 2011 Kampala Declaration of Sexual and Gender-Based Violence highlighted the need for all member states to create recovery centers and have special courts of law for the GBV victims.
These special courts are very, very important, because if we use the normal court procedures, you may find that there's re-victimization of the survivors.
Stakeholders in the mining sector want equal representation, participation and equal access to education for both genders. Recommendations were made for continued training for change of attitude and punishing of offenders.
Last years we've seen also that among the perpetrators there were some police people, as also they have the rule to protect the people. I think they can do better.
And empower men to become allies in the fight against SGBV. To achieve this, we must work collaboratively.
However, all these initiatives require adequate funds. The 16 days of activism against gender-based violence started on 25th November to 10th December, calling for prevention and elimination of violence against women and girls. Susan Naung and Joseph Muyingo reporting for EBC TV.
Thanks, Susan and Muyingo, for that report there. Now, technocrats in government institutions have been urged to involve local people and leaders in planning and policy making to ensure fruitful deliberations in reforms and bills. This was during the closure of a 2-day annual Pension Supervisors Conference held in Kampala.
Pension supervisors from various countries across Africa, including Kenya, South Africa, Malawi, Rwanda, among others, hosted by Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority, UBRA, are in Uganda, Kampala, to plan the best pension schemes in Africa. State Minister for Public Service Magasa Grace Mary, who represented Minister for Gender Betty Amongi, cited the need to extend retirement benefits to the informal sector.
It is observable that the challenges we have discussed in this conference require strategic collaboration among us. Driven by innovation, we can provide effective solutions to the pension question at hand.
She highlighted the new reform where the public service is to move from a pay-as-you-go pension scheme to a contributory scheme.
It has created a lot of liability and arrears. Many people are demanding for their pension, but the liability is too big. We cannot pay all of them at a go. That's why we have opted also to go into a contributory scheme, and at the moment the bill is already prepared for tabling again in Parliament in the first week or second week of December.
During the conference, policymakers were urged to involve all the stakeholders in planning and benchmarking of the reforms.
So if you don't have the ministers administer your programs, if you don't invite politicians to be part of your programs, if you don't have MPs in your planning and engagement processes, then you are just coming to them, you see, honorable, here we have a bill, you know, help us. Oh, they will also say, okay, but we haven't understood this thing.
The future now lies in the pension scheme and collective funds. If we don't do that as Africans, then we're heading south.
Other participants of the conference had this to say.
Able to fund, provided that funding is going to increase in a real increase in savings. Now, I'm talking here about where the government has to pay the money. Because if the government is paying it, if it is removing from one pocket and putting in another, it doesn't make sense.
So, pension aside, there are a number of reforms we implement, and each time we did one. If I show you the general's package for retrenchment package, which we are still implementing, is quite huge. We are likely to implement another one effective July due to what we call RAPEX.
The annual Africa Pension Supervisors Association Conference was inaugurated in 2019 in Nairobi, Kenya, and during the closure of the conference today, UBRA has awarded some of its key partners, including Prudential and Sanlam. Rebecca Nantongo, Robert Katamba, UBC News.
We'll now take a short break and return with much more.
Jovia. Ng'oyolekera ku lugendo luno olw'obulamu nkuwa ekirabo eky'amaanyi agatazizibwa, amaanyi okulabibwa n'okuwulirwa mu mawanga ageewala ennyo, okutuuka buli wamu nga yadde togenzeeyo, ensi yonna ng'ekuli mu ngalo. Okutambula mu biseera n'okumanya buli kimu ekirina okumanyibwa. Jovia, kino kye kirabo kyange gy'oli.
Tewali kumu ku ki ky'osobola okukola omukutu nnandameggwa ogwa MTN.
Metu Bus Industries, Namamve, the manufacturers of buses for transporters, schools, tour operators, and special purpose vans and any customized vehicle. Metu Bus Industries offers a range of buses known for safety, comfort, and reliability. Depending on your needs, a bus can simply be a point A to point B people mover with just seats, or a special design that includes power outlet, Wi-Fi, television, refreshment center, and any other specification. Buy your buses from Metu and support industrialization of Uganda. Contact us on 0788 118586 or 0782 030303. Email us metuafricabus@gmail.com. Visit our website www.metubusafrica.com.
Prof Bio Research, winners of the Best East Africa Brand Award 2023, invites you for the 8th Great Sundowner Centers Miracle Committee from 26 November to 2nd December 2023, full week blast. Keynote trainer, Omukenku Funyanzi Julius, Chuma Chiwagala Chuma. Topics include Pampers and Vermiculite soil fertilizers production, mechanized banana juice production and preservation, Ganoderma mushroom cultivation, and castor plant cultivation, aloe vera gel and juice making, and castor oil making, bathing and herbal soap production, and matchbox making at Tutorial Mall Hall Rooftop from 26 November to 2nd December 2023, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Entrance 100,000 shillings or book via mobile money on 0703 152 152. Buy a ticket at 100,000 shillings and get a free tray of saffron eggs, Ganoderma mushroom garden, and a training certificate.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. Now, gender-based violence in Uganda seems a societal issue and has left profound effects on individuals and communities. In commemoration of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, Rotary Peace Center has organized a call to action emphasizing the urgent need to combat gender-based violence and a collective resolve to address and confront GBV.
Poverty, socioeconomic disparities, limited access to resources and opportunities for women have been identified as contributors to the increase in vulnerability to prevalence of gender-based violence in Uganda.
We are talking about violence against the youth. That means the girls and the boys. So the march today was a march of awareness. It was a march of solidarity, but it was also a kickstart of the 16 days of activism this year against gender-based violence. And the critical message that is up this year is that we should invest in rising up against gender-based violence. So as Makerere University, we are investing in knowledge generation.
We want to make sure that there is a balance. So while we get to empower the girl child, we also want there to be a clarion call that also the boy child needs to be empowered to also be comfortable with women who are empowered, because a lot of the GBV issues that are coming up are as a result that we are empowering the girls, but are also not empowering the boys to be suited with the change of the dynamic in terms of empowerment issues.
Rotary Peace Centers organized a call to action march to create a collective stance against the various forms of gender-based violence.
Gender-based violence removes peace from any environment that we're in. So as Rotarians, peace building and conflict prevention is one of our main areas of focus. We want to protect our Mother Earth. But for today, we're talking about peace building and conflict prevention, because that's where gender-based violence falls. And we do believe that for us to nurture peace, to build peace in our environment, it starts by individuals, by each one of us as individuals, then in our families, in our communities, and in the world at large.
Over the past few weeks we've been engaged in the program, we've noticed that gender-based violence is cross-cutting in all the countries, and it's especially prevalent in sub-Saharan Africa. The statistics go as far as 33% in different households, and this is according to the 2020 reports that were produced.
Addressing the causes and effects, community education initiatives, economic empowerment programs, mental health support services, and advocacy for gender equality are some of the solutions that will break the cycle of gender-based violence in Uganda.
Now, the Lake Victoria Basin Commission is harmonizing a draft policy on water quality management. Addressing the regional review workshop in Entebbe, the Deputy Executive Secretary of the Commission, Koletha Aruhamia, said the lake and its basin play a major role in the region's development.
Lake Victoria and its basin is a shared resource of most EAC partner states of Burundi, Rwanda, Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda. Through the Nile Corporation for Climate Resilience, World Bank is funding the Lake Victoria Basin and other institutions to ensure national government endorsement, engagement with relevant line ministries and appropriate technical oversight. The regional review workshop has drafted harmonized policy on water quality management, looking at issues affecting water quality, which plays a major role in fueling the economy.
The policy itself has been developed basing on the water quality policy, with the objective to harmonize the existing water quality policy at national level, but to have a regional one that will support us to implement different activities to ensure we preserve our water resources.
Rwanda's Vadien Nyiranana, who is the chair of the Nile Basin Discourse, says their role on the commission is to give a feedback on how the people living along the basin perceive the policy.
And also to participate and take advantage as we have been invited, so we can go back where we operate, where we work at the grassroots and start dissemination of the policy.
Engineer Isaac Chut from South Sudan expressed a number of challenges, lack of funding being the lead.
Quality is one of the areas that lack funds, and also it is doesn't have much. I could say not having much intention from the government. And addressing your question, like the balancing between the sustainable and the investment, I think now in this step we need investments. We need actual interventions.
Etimo Simon, the Assistant Commissioner Water Quality Management in Uganda, called for combined actions for quality water issues.
Important that one, we identify issues and put interventions as a common action. Water quality here is important.
The Nile Corporation for Climate Resilience Project has 5 components, of which is a thematic area of water quality investment planning and prioritization. I'm Nafka Farida and Jenny Ramgesha.
Technocrats from Karamoja sub-region have been urged to desist from corruption and nepotism, especially during recruitment exercises for better service delivery in the district. The Minister for Public Service, Muluri Mukasa, said this while officiating the opening of a 2-day conference in Karamoja sub-region. The meeting was held in Moroto municipality.
The Minister of Public Service held a 2-day conference in Moroto municipality with the RTCs, district chairpersons, chief administrative officers, town clerks from Karamoja sub-region. The Minister for Public Service, Muluri Mukasa, officiated the opening.
Of this conference is actually to engage the stakeholders in making sure that they do a good job in recruiting the human capital which is required to carry out various services for the transformation agenda. Government is pursuing a transformation at all levels, not only economic but social and political.
Mukasa cautioned technocrats on corruption and nepotism during the recruitment exercise.
You know, people recruiting because people belong to the tribe or the area and so on. Even if they do not have the merit, they leave someone who has merit, who comes from a different region, but they leave that one out and take the one who is a local, a homeboy or home girl, and then of course that does not go well with the service itself.
He advised participants on the coping up with the new technologies.
Things are always changing. The expectations are changing. The people are serving, even in terms of age and so on, are changing. Even the bulk of knowledge they know is so great. Sometimes it surpasses what we know because of the various technological changes that have happened in the world. To provide a service, we must be conscious of such changes, but what we provide must be satisfying.
The chairperson of the Service Commission, Agnes Winnie Kabogoza, says the training will improve service delivery.
I believe that by the close of this conference, we shall all have appreciated the need for teamwork and political and technical interface to have the DSCs function effectively and independently, though dependently.
Meanwhile, Moroto district will be among the 19 regional one-stop centers in the country.
The pursuit of efficiency and serving the client needs very effectively. The concept of that center is that, yes, for most of the sought-after services, they can be offered in one place and in record time. You know, what are the most frequently asked for services? For instance, you want a passport, you want a driving permit.
Residents of Chemamba village in Liantonde district have appealed to President Yoweri Museveni to rescue them from the Liantonde district lands officer who is evicting them from their land where they have been living. Now, the land in question is government land and covers 160 acres in Chemamba village, Kayemba sub-county in Liantonde district.
Over 100 residents of Chemamba village in Liantonde district, led by their chairman Baguma James, claim government officials in Liantonde district have arrested their colleagues seeking to evict them from their land.
Bahara DC ni baturuganya ba muhangi bona tutwine bwemerero tutwina ho kustama tutwina bwemerero nturara twemerere ni turara tustami turgaho twirkanga tuzahamakanisa turara mu bishaka nitugenda naberere konka tuyambe Museveni twafa tuyambe
twashaka ubuyamba ha government abamwe twine kuza abantu benshi twine kuza barya mwenanisha bangu Museveni otiyambe abapolisi bayiziraha batworesa za statement mbajangu batebero bikien turya hakano baza kutwara buri omwe bamukome wenka tarhora abase kweshobora ho kweyihayo.
The residents admit that the land belongs to government. They settled on it because it is the only option and appeal to President Museveni to rescue them.
Itakadeni university ya secondary zabare ndoza yange ndoza bwenti baje bazimbe secondary na yerwe kwa seveko etakadeni ja RDC yampita nzi kwa statement na sema ofisi ya police nekata bampita ngene yandone mbe statement nguze musangu
bwentu antukra president Yoweri otiyambe turkubi ntraro mshaka njeti ya mugongo tuina bana tuina ho turkuza nyino mkai kurtaine bwekoro tuina bazaire bona omgurso wanja kafa.
The deputy RDC Jeremy Namanya and the district chairman told UBC that the squatters on government land illegally settled on the land, yet the district has development projects like building a public school, hospital.
As you very well know, it is government's policy to have a secondary school for each sub-county, and as we speak, there are plans in place to have a secondary school in Chemamba. And the place where that school is supposed to be, the district allocated that particular area where these people are settling. So it is in the interest of the district to ensure that we align with the government policy of having a secondary school per sub-county, and that is what we are up to today.
He further explained that the residents asked for time to harvest their crops and the government gave them time, but they refused to leave.
We've been engaging these people time and again. As of now, the status is such that we are embarking on the process of having these people indeed vacate this land. And we are not doing it in a kangaroo style, we are doing it in the legal way because there is no one who is above the law. The presidential directives on land evictions are extremely clear.
Sudat Kaye and Nicholas Nduga, UBC News.
Now, pastors under the National Altar will engage in 3 days of prayer for the nation. Now, this was it was announced during a press conference organized by the National Altar's pastors at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds.
Uganda is heading for the festive season with crime at its height. Different pastors from National Altar have organized a crusade at Kololo grounds to pray for the country.
Because we believe that by the repentance that we did in July, we crossed from the wilderness. Now we are at a certain season, at the gate of another season, where we need to come like how the children of Israel camped at Gilgal. And when they camped there, God spoke to Joshua and told him that they need to consecrate themselves. And after that, they were able to be prepared to engage into warfare.
Pastor Margaret Musungu called upon all the youth in Christ to reunite, reset and start their lifestyle.
Of the day we shall be praying. We have therefore we are inviting all the women, we are inviting all the youth, we are inviting all the men, we are inviting people from different places to come and pray with us. But again, we are also putting a lot of emphasis on what the Lord is going to do.
Just days before the country celebrates World AIDS Awareness Day, Bishop Patrick Musike urged couples to be faithful to their partners and youths to protect themselves from HIV/AIDS.
The theme for our retreat comes from Matthew 16:18, when Jesus spoke to Peter, and upon this rock I'll build the church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
We are just in a moment, we are just in our season whereby that we have been praying for some time, where we need an altar that can bring the nation together, because anything in a nation that will succeed starts by prayers. And right now, as Uganda is coming up with many things together and many challenges at the same time, we need to pray. And that's why we are calling all Ugandans, regardless of who you are, all denominations and every Ugandan to come here at Kololo.
The service starts from 30th to 2nd Saturday.
In Jesus' name we pray.
Resident district commissioners and district internal security officers from Teso sub-region have been urged to collaborate with the Uganda People's Defence Forces, UPDF, and other security agencies to improve security and stability in the region. The UPDF 3rd Division Commander, Don William Nabasa, challenged the district security committees to strengthen security in order to foster an economic enabling environment for their communities to better their lives.
General Don Nabasa cautioned resident district commissioners and DSOs to cooperate with UPDF and security agencies to foster development in their areas.
Do not allow the Karamajong to cross over to Teso, to North Lango, to East Acholi, to Sembei. We should not allow them because the drought will not affect them.
General Nabasa also warned RDCs and their security committees to be vigilant as some of political leaders allow the Pokot and Karamojong cattle keepers settle in their areas, hiding in the guise of accessing green pastures.
Don't allow those district leaders, those politicians, to agree with their counterparts across to come over for pasture and water, and yet there's no scarcity on the other side. Let them remain wherever they are. But we said, no. We can't allow you to keep these people here when they are terrorizing other communities.
While retooling these commissioners and DSOs, Daudi Migereko, the former Minister for Housing and Urban Development, encouraged them to extend the campaign to popularize the government parish development model.
The world is moving. If you want maximum production out of your land, there are things you must do. Mechanize, irrigate, apply fertilizers, and use technical people. If we are going to increase production, we must mechanize so that we can be able to cover a much bigger area.
The RDCs commended the Office of the President for the commitment in maintaining security and guarding local communities.
We arrested one person with a gun, with bullets. In August, we arrested another person with a gun in Takabela who had come to shoot somebody, who killed somebody in Soroti. As we speak now, we are relatively calm. Business of government is going on. Traders are doing their businesses normally.
Mobilizing community to engage in government programs and also ensuring that our people engage in economic war against poverty to liberate themselves so that they can live a meaningful life.
The workshop has come at a time of children coming back for holidays. The RDCs called upon parents to engage their children in productive activities that will have their lives changed for better.
As they are doing their daily businesses, activities, let them involve in the children.
People should utilize this peace and stability for them to uplift their livelihood by advancing on their socio-economic transformation.
Jovia. Ng'oyolekera ku lugendo luno olw'obulamu nkuwa ekirabo eky'amaanyi agatazizibwa, amaanyi okulabibwa n'okuwulirwa mu mawanga ag'ewala ennyo, okutuuka buli wamu nga yadde togenzeeyo.
Welcome back. Let's look at business news now. And the NFT Mobility Project implementation has ended after 3 years. Through the lead firm approach, the NFT Mobility Project that was launched to the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic has provided work for young people as providers of professional mobility solutions in form of border-based passenger services and delivery services. Dennis Tigoa gives us more.
In the 3-year period of its implementation, the NFT Mobility Project has had a positive impact to communities. This initiative is supported by the Private Sector Foundation Uganda and MasterCard Foundation under Enhancing Lead Farm Structure for Youth Employment Program.
If I'm trying to help a young man to get a job, right, and all I want to say is I want to get him a job, I must understand the situation he's in today. The situation he's in today is not that I don't have a job. Situation he's in is probably I don't have where to live, I don't have transport, I don't have a uniform. He doesn't have very many things. Now, when you understand that, which is what we've shown as a beneficiary context, and you're able to now start fixing those bits, then those ambitions are achievable.
Areas of impact include increased access to dignified employment, gender mainstreaming in the automotive industry, facilitated access to finance and entrepreneurship development, among others. According to PSFU, at least 500 million shillings was invested in the project.
So for us, that's an amazing result. That what started as a simple experiment has led to young people getting new work opportunities within the border space. We're also even more excited to see that close to 150 of those are young women that have been given an opportunity to penetrate principally or traditionally male-dominated industry.
As it comes to an end, the implementers are convinced it achieved its intended objectives. This is despite being unveiled at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic.
By the way, smartphone.
NFT project helped me a lot. I didn't even know anything about using a smartphone. They trained us to use smartphones and how to ride motorcycles in Kampala. What excited me most is the reception I received as a woman when I went to NFT. They told me they were going to give me a phone because we were going to work through the Uber app.
Sports news, and we look at cricket. In cricket, Namibia has become the first African country to qualify for the ICC 2024 T20 Men's World Cup after registering 5 wins in 5 games in the ongoing ICC Men's T20 World Cup qualifiers Africa in Windhoek, Namibia. Now, with this development, Uganda, which is currently in second place with 6 points, has to contest for the one remaining slot to the 2024 World Cup, together with third and fourth placed countries, Kenya and Zimbabwe. Uganda has 2 games to play against Kenya and Rwanda respectively, and if she comes out on top, Uganda will be in the 2024 World Cup. The cricket cranes will take on Kenya tomorrow afternoon at the Wanderers cricket grounds as they continue the fight for that one slot. Now, this East African derby between the 2 rival countries is expected to be competitive and contentious.
Treat it like any other game, because we can't afford to let emotions come in the way of that game. So we need to go out there, be clinical, be professional, and just get the job done. And that is the plan that has been discussed by the team, and that's what we're going to try and do tomorrow.
No, like I told you at the beginning, we came here to play 6 finals, and Kenya is just another final that we are going to go through tomorrow. It is not any other different game. We have 7 strong teams in this competition, and we're taking every team seriously. So Kenya is another one, but we'll just go tomorrow and keep doing the same things we'll be doing. Keep it simple, stick to the plans and just play hard. You know, the good thing with such tournaments is that whenever you play, you always have something to reflect on. And on several occasions, we have seen what good things we have done, stuck to that, and where we have fallen short, we have come improving and working on those areas. So it's just it's something that we keep improving, and we keep putting up good performances day in, day out, and that's what I expect from the boys. We need to keep improving.
And for tomorrow as well, the plan doesn't change. You know, it's just the decisions the guys make at the time. The main thing is just keeping the guys, fresh, just keeping the guys neutral. We've had some good wins, so it's quite easy for your confidence levels to shoot through the roof. So it's just a matter of keeping the guys happy, keeping them level for tomorrow, just reiterating what is our game plan.
And that's all we had time for. Thank you so much for having kept us company. On sign language, it has been Elizabeth Nakakoni, and I am Rukidi Edward Kijadangoma, wishing you a blessed night, but I'll leave you with the weather forecast for tomorrow with Sharon Nakajiri. Sharon.
Thank you for staying with UBC. I'm Sharon Nakajiri tonight with the weather update brought to you by Uganda National Meteorological Authority together with UBC. Now, we are still experiencing wet weather activities across most parts of Uganda, and a satellite taken over Africa today shows that the rain-bearing clouds are now over our country, Uganda. That's why tomorrow morning we are forecasting light rains in areas around Masaka. As for our capital city, Kampala and in Nakasongola, we are forecasting sunny intervals. For the western stretch, we shall see a mixture of cloudy and sunny conditions, as well as in the eastern parts of the country. That includes Tororo, Jinja, and in Soroti, as well as in the northern parts of Uganda, where we shall see a mixture of sunny and cloudy conditions. During the course of the afternoon, we shall have thunder showers in Kampala, temperatures going up to 28 degrees Celsius, 29 degrees Celsius in Nakasongola. In the western stretch, we shall have temperatures ranging between 24 degrees Celsius in Kabale and 28 degrees Celsius. In the east, we shall have temperatures going up to 29 degrees Celsius with thunder showers. In the northern parts of Uganda, we shall have light rains in Arua, and in Lira, temperatures going up to 28 degrees Celsius. Elsewhere, we are forecasting sunny intervals at 30 degrees Celsius. For international weather forecast, we shall have bright and sunny conditions in Beijing at 8 degrees Celsius. That means it will be chilly. For Nairobi and New York, we are forecasting light rains, temperatures going up to 23 degrees Celsius in Nairobi. That nicely concludes our weather forecast today till tomorrow. If you want to access our weather updates, please dial *201# for more information. Have a good night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
The Uganda Investments Authority will host the Presidential Investors Conference on Wednesday, the 29th of November 2023 at Kololo Independence Grounds. The conference will start at 9 a.m. with a presentation on access to affordable finance for investment to be presented by the executive directors and CEOs of Stanbic Bank, Pride Microfinance, Post Bank, Centenary Bank, Housing Finance Bank, UDB, Standard Chartered, followed by a question and answer session to be handled by Mr. Maurice Rakakamba and the Honorable Evelyn Anite. This will be followed by another panel session on service